give a personal thanks to our clerks who have been filling in the last couple months. Besides our valued analysts, Ryan and Olivier, the clerks that we've had have just done an amazing job. Each and every one of them, even though some of them have only been here for one day, have had put through a strong work ethic and have treated this committee as if they were the permanent clerk. So thank you very much to all the clerks who have filled in for the last month, and we'll look forward in March having our permanent clerk assigned to us. Just very quickly, we mentioned we'd get to the budgets for the ships. We've separated into two different. There's the Halifax, Quebec City trip, and then the Vancouver, Victoria. The Vancouver, Victoria is particularly high because the way it's been done up, it's planned for an extra day in case we get caught because of weather. Do not ask why we would expect Vancouver, Victoria to be caught with weather, but that's just it. I'm just looking for thumbs up. This is only to submit to the liaison to start the process of our visits to the 4 shipyards. So Halifax, it's been sent out to everyone. Halifax, it's $79,612. That's up to, I've looked at the budget, seems a bit high, but that just covers every contingency. Vancouver, Victoria is $95,255. Same issue. Are we fine for that? It's not setting dates or anything. It's just for us to send it to the liaison committee for their approval, if we can get it. Wonderful. I see no objection. Go ahead. I see Mr. Scheer, you have your hand up, sir. And then Mrs. Vignola.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I'd like to move a motion that I'll just provide a little bit of context for before I move it. A little bit of a recap of what brings us here today to the motion that I'd like to propose, and it has to do with the ArriveCan app and some of the shocking revelations that we've heard from the Auditor General and her findings. To back up, during the pandemic, this was decided to bring in, the government decided to bring in an app for Canadians, forcing Canadians to use this app to document their crossing the border into Canada. It should have cost just around $80,000. Instead, so far, the Auditor General has concluded that it is at least $60 million in costs attributed to that. And that's based on what she can find.
Point of order, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Kuzmarchuk.
Yes, I would appreciate it if my honorable colleague would ground his statement in fact, not fiction.
It's not a point of order.
And exaggeration. So again, I think it's important that we ground our discussions here. I know he's new to this committee, but I'd appreciate that he would ground his arguments and interventions in fact.
Thank you, Mr. Kuzmarchuk. Is your hand up on this point of order, Mr. Generous, or can we proceed?
No, I was raising it to be added to the speaking list, and this is clearly not a point of order, just a dilatory tactic. So I think.
Thank you. We'll go back to Mr. Scheer, please.
Yeah, just to let the record show that the Liberal MPs are now calling the findings of the Auditor General fiction. So that's new to me, Mr. Chair.
Point of order, Mr. Chair. Point of order, Mr. Chair. I really don't appreciate. I don't appreciate my colleague ascribing to me statements that I do not hold. And
you just said it.
Retract. I ask that he. No. I said that you should stick to facts, not fiction, not the Auditor General, whose recommendation.
On that point of order, Chair. Point of order.
Okay, Mr. Barrett, and then hopefully we can get back to Mr. Scheer.
Chair, wants and feelings. I'm just wondering if we can point to those in the standing orders, or if we're just going to, or if these are indeed dilatory tactics, and Liberal members should restrain themselves.
We will ask everyone to please maintain some decorum. Mr. Scheer, we'll get back to you.
I was just for the record, I was quoting the Auditor General from her appearance just this morning. But basically, what we're dealing with is $20 million worth of contracts going to GC Strategies. The Auditor General has told us and told committees that there was not documentation around decision-making, that there was a non-competitive process that was pursued, there was an accountability void, and these costs clearly ballooned from $80,000 to $60 million. This is a company that's gotten $250 million worth of government contracts since Justin Trudeau became Prime Minister. And this committee has tried to get answers from the directors at GC Strategies, and they have ignored 2 summons. So this committee has summoned them to come and testify. This committee has similar powers to that of a court of law, and parliamentarians are entrusted to provide answers and transparency on behalf of Canadians, especially when it comes to tax dollars. When the government forcibly takes dollars out of the pockets of Canadians and decides to spend it, taxpayers have a fundamental right to know where the money went, why it was spent, and whether or not all the rules were followed. The Auditor General has raised major red flags. I mean, the language that she used in her report, her testimony today in committee, these aren't just findings of sloppiness or some I's not dotted and T's not crossed. She has exposed monumental levels of mismanagement on this. So I'd like to propose the following motion. Given the seriousness of the fact that the summons have been ignored, that these officials at GC Strategies have not come to answer on what they did with taxpayers' money, how invoices were accumulated, who signed off on these types of expenses, and whether or not the work was actually done. These are important questions that Canadians absolutely have a right to know. And based on the statements of MPs of all parties in the House, I believe that this should be a very straightforward motion that we should be able to accept very quickly, because it touches on the collective rights of parliamentarians, not for ourselves, not as individuals, but with the responsibility entrusted to us from Canadians. And therefore, I believe that we should all support this common sense motion to ensure that when a parliamentary committee demands somebody come and testify to answer for how they spent Canadian tax dollars, that those summonses are respected, that the law is followed, that the proper process and protocols are adhered to. So therefore, Mr. Chair, I would like to move that the committee report to the House that, given that, 1, GC Strategies owners, Kristen Firth and Darren Anthony, were issued summonses on November 2nd, 2023, compelling their appearance before the committee on December 5th, 2023, and refused to testify. And new summonses were issued for them to appear by February 9th, 2024. And again, GC Strategies owners refused to testify before the committee. 2, the Auditor General revealed that GC Strategies received nearly $20 million in government contracts on ArriveCan alone, double what was originally projected. 3, the Government of Canada has $250 million in contracts with GC Strategies listed on its website, but claims they cannot confirm the accuracy of this amount, as the website is prone to error, casting further doubt on how much this 2-person IT company has received since the company formed in 2015. And 4, the RCMP is investigating contracting links to ArriveCan and has met with the Auditor General concerning her findings in the ArriveCan audit. The committee recommend that an order of the House do issue requiring Christian Firth and Darren Anthony each to appear before the Standing Committee on Government Operations and Estimates at dates and times determined by the chair of the committee, but within 14 days of the adoption of this order, provided that if the chair of the committee informs the Speaker and the Sergeant-at-Arms in writing that one or both have failed to appear as ordered, A, the Sergeant-at-Arms shall take Christian Firth, Darren Anthony, or both of them, as the case may be, into his custody for the purposes of enforcing their attendance before the committee at dates and times determined by the chair of the committee, for which the Speaker shall issue his warrant accordingly. And B, the Sergeant-at-Arms shall discharge from his custody a witness taken into his custody pursuant to paragraph A upon 1, a decision of the committee releasing the witness from further attendance, or 2, a further order of the House to that effect, and C, the Speaker shall inform the House at the earliest opportunity of developments in this regard.
Thank you, Mr. Scheer. It has been distributed to everyone's P9. I do have